Hey, it's Cringe here. So we just finished up week one. I'm gonna do my first video on fantasy waiver wire pickups. So what I'm gonna do is it's Tuesday night right now. So most leagues you don't get your waivers in until tomorrow morning sometime. So it's pretty late right now. It's after 10 o'clock here where I live. Been out all day, so I haven't had a chance to do a video, but I'm looking at a list of all the games for this week two, and I'm just gonna go by matchup to matchup, and we'll do players that should be added off the waiver wire. So first up is Bills and Dolphins. For the Bills, guys that you probably didn't already have, maybe Mac Hollins. That's really all I've seen over there. Everybody else is probably already owned, like Josh Allen and Keon Coleman and Dalton Kincaid. All those guys are owned, but I do like what I seen from Mac Hollins in week one. So Mac Hollins would be an ad. On the Dolphins side of the ball, Mostert had a horrible week. Tua looked pretty good, but these are guys you probably already have. So over on the Dolphins, I mean, everybody that was of importance in fantasy, everybody probably already owns. The only person that people might not own is like Jonnu Smith, and he didn't have a really good game. So we're going to move on to the Raiders and the Ravens. Obviously, Isaiah Likely, the tight end for the Ravens, that's a guy people want to go after. And if you're in a really deep league, Justice Hill, he did some damage out there, but maybe a really deep league. I didn't really see much from Rashad Bateman yet, but definitely Isaiah Likely. And for the Raiders, Alexander Mattinson seemed to be the one that was doing any damage running the ball. So most people probably don't own a Raiders running back, but if you're going to shoot a shot to take one, maybe in a deeper league, Alexander Madison would be the guy. I didn't really see anybody else stand out in that game. Next up is the Browns and the Jags. Jerry Jeudy wasn't owned in a lot of leagues. I have him in my one league, and somebody actually picked him up before the game started in my other league. But Jerry Jeudy would be a guy. I mean, if you're in a super deep league, stashing Jameis Winston might be something to do, because Watson doesn't look all that good. And I know Njoku just went, he's got the busted ankle, but he really didn't do much in that game either. So on the Jaguars side of the ball, if you're in a super deep league, Tank Bigsby, he didn't look too bad in that first week. I think that was really it. Maybe the rookie wide receiver they have, Brian Thomas, I think it is. He actually looked pretty damn good against the Dolphins. So I think he was only targeted like 2 or 3 times, something like that. But he did some damage. He had the pass interference call on Jalen Ramsey, and he had a touchdown. So he's a guy to go after. Jets and Titans, that was one of the biggest. The Jets wide receiver there, Alan Lazard, he came out of left freaking field. There was Mike Williams. I don't even think he got targeted. I'm pretty sure he played, but I didn't see anything with Mike Williams. I actually have him on one team. I'm pretty sure he had 0. But Alan Lazard had a monster game. And Tyrod Taylor came in and didn't look too bad, but you're obviously sticking with Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, if you're, like I said, if you're in a super, super deep league, hopefully nothing happens to Rodgers. So I'm gonna say Alan Lazard, maybe Tyler Conklin. That guy's a monster. I don't think he had a bad game. For the Titans, I didn't see anybody stand out that you probably don't already have or that's not already taken. So I'm gonna move on to the 49ers and the Vikings. Sam Darnold looked pretty good. I'm sure most people don't own him. So and most of these teams are 10-team leagues with one quarterback. So like I said in my previous video, there's not a lot of teams that own quarterbacks. You have the 10 guys that obviously all the teams have, and then maybe a couple of those teams have a backup quarterback. But Sam Darnold didn't look too bad for the Vikings. For the 49ers, obviously it was the running back Mason, so you're going to want to keep an eye on McCaffrey. All of a sudden he was one of those like super surprise I'm not playing week 1 and it's the final game of the week, so I'm sure that screwed a lot of fantasy managers that own Christian McCaffrey, him all of a sudden not playing in that game Monday night. But his backup Mason, he looked pretty damn good, so maybe handcuffing him wouldn't be a bad idea. Let's see, I didn't see anybody else really that nobody would own. So we're going to move on to the Chargers and the Panthers, and the Panthers just look like complete crap, and I was really high on the Panthers. They went out and got smashed 47-10, so I don't know what to make of them yet. But the rookie receiver Xavier Legette, I don't know how you pronounce his last name, but he didn't look bad. He obviously didn't have a bunch of points, and if you're in a super deep league, he might not be a bad ad. Other than that, I didn't see like Bryce Young look like crap, and Cuba Hubbard, and obviously Deontay Johnson and Thielen aren't getting the ball. So for the Chargers, though, the running backs looked pretty good. I didn't see anybody really stand out besides Ladd McConkey, and I mean, if you're in a small league, I would add Ladd McConkey. He had a pretty nice first game. The running backs, though, who is it? It's Gus Edwards and why can't I think of the other guy's name? But it's the other guy. That's the guy you want to pick up. He had a monster game. I can't think of his name right now. That's going to drive me nuts. But maybe it'll pop in my head. We'll come back to him. But it's not Gus Edwards. It's the other running back on the Chargers that you want to take a flyer on. So Seahawks, Patriots. Patriots upset the Bengals in week 1. Once I realized the Bengals were going to be down, it looked like they were going to play without Chase and without Higgins. And once I saw that, I wanted to change all my picks to Patriots, and I didn't, and I should have. Chase ended up playing. He had an okay game, I guess. Not a monster game like he's used to having, but for the Patriots, I don't know if there's a lot of people out there that own Ramondre Stevenson, but he had a pretty damn good first game. He'd probably be the only one that I would say, but I'm sure most people own him. The Seahawks, I didn't see anything really stand out besides guys that you probably already own, like Metcalf and Jackson Smith Najigma. And not enough to say go out and grab Geno Smith either. So Saints and Cowboys, the Saints had the monster week 1, but like I said, they were playing the Panthers. Rashid Shaheed had a decent game, so a deeper league. The tight ends, Juwan Johnson and Foster Moreau. I didn't notice if Taysom Hill really had anything. I'll have to go back and look at that, but I'm pretty sure if he did something crazy, I would have seen. So I'm not buying on Taysom Hill yet. The Cowboys, though, the Cowboys looked phenomenal. Brandon Cooks could be a guy you could go stash in a deeper league. Zeke had a touchdown. I'm not really high on Zeke, but if he's going to keep getting touchdowns, it's worth a spot on the bench, I guess. Giants and Commanders, the Jaden Daniels, he had a monster week 1. He might have led all quarterbacks in fantasy points too. I like Jaden Daniels. If you're in a bigger league, he should be one of your starters anyways. If you're in a smaller league, at least grabbing him and putting him on the bench might not be a bad idea. I didn't really see anybody else that stood out in that game. Ertz didn't have a good game. Scary Terry didn't have a good game. For the Giants, they just didn't look hot either. Obviously, most teams probably own Malik Neighbors, but like I said, I didn't really see anything over there to sway me. The Bucks put up some points. Baker Mayfield, maybe that's a guy that not a lot of people own. Baker Mayfield is worth an ad. The Lions, Jamison Williams. I said it from the start. I think he's going to have a monster year. I'm sure a lot of people do own him, but if he's available in your league, you're going out, you get Jamison Williams. David Montgomery, too. They have the two-headed monster running back, Montgomery and Gibbs. A lot of people probably took Gibbs. I don't know about Montgomery, but I'm picking up Montgomery. Let's see. Colts and Packers. Everybody knows Jordan Love is injured right now. He's probably going to be out for a few weeks, but I'm not buying in on Malik Willis. Jaden Reed had a really good first game. Jacobs didn't look all too great. He kind of got some points at the end, but I'm sure Jaden Reed's owned already. So Colts, Alec Pierce is probably a guy that nobody really owns. I'd pick him up even in 10-team leagues that start 2 wide receivers, at least just to have him on the bench. I like Pierce going into it. I just wasn't sure what to make of him. But yeah, pick up Alec Pierce. Rams and Cardinals. Puka Nacua is out with an injury. They have another wide receiver in there that I can't think of his name either. Maybe Tyrell Johnson. Don't quote me on it because I'm not sure, but he had some looks. I don't know if I'm picking him up. If I'm in a super deep league, I might take a shot at that guy. But other than him, I think it was just all the usual suspects. Cooper Kupp, Stafford, Kyron Williams. It's all people that should be owned already. For the Cardinals, I think that was basically guys that are already owned. So Steelers, Broncos. I mean, Bo Nix doesn't look too bad, but I'm not taking a swing on him. Super deep league, I might want him as like my third quarterback on the bench, but Steelers, the Steelers kicker, Boswell. So I think he had like 30-something points in my league last week. 6 for 6 with field goals. That's 18 points, but he must have nailed a couple 50-yarders to get the extra points too. But on the Steelers side, basically Boswell. Fields didn't have a bad game, but he wasn't scoring. I mean, if Russ is still going to be out, maybe you look at Justin Fields, but yeah, I didn't see too much from anybody else. Bengals, Chiefs. The Chiefs have that Xavier Worthy. That kid had a monster day. I'm picking him up. Definitely should be picking him up. On the Bengals side of the ball, I really didn't see anything. I thought maybe Mike Gesicki would have a pretty good first game. He did not. So Bengals, it's usual suspects. You're owning Burrow, you're owning Chase. I'm not really picking anybody up over there yet. Maybe Zach Moss. I don't know how much he's owned in leagues, but let's see. Bears and Texans. The Bears offense didn't look all that great either. Their defense, even though they gave up points, they had moments. So, I mean, if you play in a league where you get defensive players, you could probably go grab a couple Bears guys on defense. I didn't really look defense-wise with any of this stuff, but let me just backtrack quick and see if there was like a defense that just went crazy, like the Cowboys. They should already be owned though. The Cowboys, the Browns defense didn't look too hot, but I'm trying to look through like the Saints defense. Maybe you want to look and see who the Panthers are playing, and maybe that's a defense you want to pick up, like the Chargers. They look pretty good against the Raiders, so I'd pick up the Chargers defense. Breezing through this list quick just to see who else. Like, I don't know if I'm buying on the Commanders defense against the Giants yet. The Steelers defense, but I'm sure they're owned playing the Broncos. So back to Bears Texans. So I didn't see enough from the Bears yet to really want to go out and grab guys. I think the rookie there, that Rome Odunze or Aduns, however you pronounce his last name, I think he did get banged up. I'm not sure if he's going to be missing time. The Texans, Joe Mixon. I'm sure everybody already owns Joe Mixon, but Joe Mixon had a monster first game. Maybe it's because of the opponent, but I don't know. I'm liking Joe Mixon. Other than that, it's usual suspects. Falcons, Eagles. The Falcons offense fell flat too. Didn't really see anybody there that you want to run out and grab. Eagles, obviously Saquon Barkley, but he was probably one of the top picks anyways. So that's my waiver wire pickups for week 1. Still driving me nuts that I can't think of the Ravens running back name, because it was the Chargers running back. It's the 2 former Ravens guys. It's Gus Edwards and It's just not. Any other time I know it's just not coming to me. But yeah, that's the video. I'll put out some more. I'll do my week 2 picks, and I'll do like week 2 quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and defenses in another video. But thanks for watching. Have a good night.